Tuesday.
Welcome, everybody. Thank you guys for joining. It's the season finale for the Learner's Toolkit. Happy Tuesday, AI Johnny.
Right back at you, brother. Today, the 28th.
All day, every day.
Not every day.
I knew you'd catch that.
Welcome to Season 11 of Airhead Institute, your 45-minute AI power-up at noon Eastern. This month, we are broadcasting live across all the socials and Zoom. If you're new here, join our free AI community to grow alongside other curious minds and give your kids a head start by enrolling them in the Airhead after-school program. Here is April's weekly lineup. Mondays, we take the training wheels off and run AI locally in the local LLM Forge. Tuesdays, we explore accessible AI apps for rapid learning and self-improvement in the Learner's Toolkit. Wednesdays, we build a company of one from scratch in Solopreneur Systems. Thursdays, we uncover bite-sized productivity and creative tools in Hidden AI App Showcase. Fridays, we push the boundaries of human longevity and biohacking in the Biological Upgrade. We're making AI practical, powerful, and accessible for everyone. No tech background? No problem. Whether you're a student, professional, or lifelong learner, just show up. Guided by your hosts, AI Junior and AI Johnny, we're keeping it bold, brainy, and built for real-world impact. AI won't take your job, but someone who knows how to use AI will. Don't get left behind.
Welcome, modern-day aggressive consumers, to Season 11 of Airhead Institute. Today is Episode 4 of the Learner's Toolkit. And yes, I'm still AI Johnny. So are you drowning in unread data? Text isn't teaching you anymore, it's burying you. Today we shatter the illusion that learning requires hours of endless reading. Watch us feed thousands of words of dense, mind-numbing data into an AI, and in just 3 seconds, birth a brilliant, navigatable visual map. You don't just read information today, you conquer it. And to prove this, I'm handing it over to AI Junior. I caught him at 3 a.m. this morning, dangerously caffeinated, crashing his browser, trying to map the entire Marvel universe. Let's hope his motherboard survives this demo. What do you say, AI Junior?
AI Johnny, to keep track of the Marvel Universe multiverse, requires serious computing power. Gigaflops. Johnny, gigaflops. All right, welcome everyone. Remember, this is an immersive class. You may not understand everything we say here today, but stick with us daily and you'll be fluent in AI in no time. If you're a visual learner, today's AI class is your holy grail. Since this is interactive and immersive, as I mentioned, if you're on Zoom, unmute and ask your questions in real time, anytime. If you're on socials, there's a 30-second delay, so type your questions early. We are not ignoring you. Anyway, briefly, we are actually wrapping up the 4-week season of the Learner's Toolkit. We'll be starting a new series on Tuesday next week for something else, so stay tuned. So we're going to show you free tools or cheat tools to rapidly accelerate your self-education. Hey, Adrian, thank you for joining. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, and before we even touch our software, we're going to go right back to our official language model of the Institute, Google Gemini. We always consult our high-level colleague before jumping into anything. So we asked Gemini, what is the single most mind-blowing fact about Whimsical AI right now for visual learners?
Right, so Gemini analyzed the latest update and reported Whimsical AI can ingest thousands of words of unstructured text and instantly map it with a visually navigable relational flowchart, turning hours of reading into seconds of visual comprehension.
Another bold claim, AI Junior. Turning a textbook into a flowchart in just seconds. Can AI do it? Junior, fire up the screen. Let's check out if Gemini is right about whimsical AI.
I know, right? So let's see if they're actually right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop the link in the chat so you guys can follow at home, following at home. And let me see here. So if I go whimsical.com, so I'm going to drop this here so you guys can actually follow along. All right. So the actual web URL is whimsical.com. And if you actually go to that web page, you can actually play along at home. All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and create a brand new board. And in the brand new board, let's say, for example, AI Johnny, you wanted to learn about a topic. It doesn't matter what the topic is, right? We are going to choose Amazon Web Services. Now, Amazon Web Services itself is a cloud-based infrastructure. It's really, really popular. It's what Netflix is hosted on. It's a lot of many of the apps that you use are hosted on. So, if you actually are familiar or not familiar, it's a really good place to actually maybe try to understand, especially how apps are hosted. No, let's say, for example, AI Johnny, you don't want to read all of this, right? This is terrible. Like, I fall asleep after, scrolling the first page, right? Doesn't make any sense, right?
I could do it, but if I was going to read that much, I would read about photosynthesis.
You know what? Let's do photosynthesis. How about that? Let's change gears right away because I know you love photosynthesis. So
You're
I
going to
know
do an audible right in the middle of the show?
we're gonna do an audible.
You crazy
I,
Jamaican.
yeah, exactly. I don't even know how to spell photosynthesis. I know by the end of Okay, there you go. So the page is actually quite long. It's actually longer than the AWS page. And they guarantee there's no way I'm going to be able to read and understand anything about photosynthesis, right?
Right?
All right, so here's what I'm going to do, AI Johnny. So I'm going to take this page and copy photosynthesis. Just copy the text. My finger's actually tired just scrolling the amount of text there is. All right, so I'm not going to copy the references. I don't really need the references, but I'm just going to copy up to the last detail. All right, so remember, last detail is carbon dioxide. So I go over to my board, and you see this little button here that says AI. I click it,
Yeah.
and I get a prompt, and it says auto. Now let's paste, and you'll notice here, carbon dioxide actually did fit. You know what bothers me a lot, AI Johnny, is when you actually put in these, hey Shauna, hey, Zoom users, thanks for joining, and Adrian, thanks for joining. Yeah, so, AI Johnny, when I drop in text and it tells me, oh, you actually hit the limit, and you only have, 40 characters that you can actually put in, and you have to delete everything, and you're trying to make it fit. It's just annoying. So this is beautiful. So I'll give them a huge pro already for fitting in so many words of text inside this actual prompt, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So now that I'm actually going to create, look what it's going to do. Look how fast this is, AI Johnny. I'm going to take that. I know nothing other than sunlight, carbon dioxide, oxygen, trees about photosynthesis. But if I hit create, look what
Yeah,
starts
you're
happening.
going to need some water in there. Water plays a role.
You know, you're right. Look at this. It's already breaking out photosynthesis, how it actually works, light dependent reactions, light independent reaction, the Kelvin cycle. I have no idea what it's really doing, but almost instantly, look what it's doing. It's actually breaking out the actual data. It's still
If you
working.
take that, if you take that map and you turn it 90 degrees to the left, it looks like grass growing.
Or it looks like like a tree. Exactly. But yeah, Johnny, look at this. Look
Oh,
at
it is
this.
a tree. That's right.
Exactly,
That's right.
exactly.
Fun.
Look at this, yeah, Johnny. It actually generated the whole entire workflow of what I guess this is what to study.
You know,
Go
Junior,
ahead.
just a full disclosure, that still looks like too much for you to read. Can you cut and paste that tree and throw it back into itself?
You know what? I probably could. I probably could. Yeah. So
We're
let's
having
look
fun today.
definitely let's look at one of the actual paths. So which definition and overview, biological process converting light energy to chemical energy performed by autotropic organisms, plants, algae, cyanobacteria, produces oxygen and organic compounds critical for Earth's atmosphere and life. Right? I got a really good overview in just that. I would have had to read. Let me see how much details I'd have to read just to get the overview. Let me see. One. Okay, we'll probably started here. Like, yeah, this is way too much information. So it already broke that down for me in like 3 or 4 bullet points. Right?
the overview you just read the overview
I think
broken
what
down.
I think what it did, it brought on the overview. It actually might have taken also the first part of it as well into it. It did break the definition and overview. So this is actually the first one, two, the first two sections it in a visual chart, and without reading this whole entire thing, I really got a sense. Obviously I do know what these things are, but I get a sense of what the topic is without actually even reading the whole entire thing. So within 4 bullet points I'm able to actually understand the overview and the actual point, just like that.
So, as it turns out, photosynthesis is necessary for life on the planet. Without photosynthesis, there would be no life.
That's so interesting that, all of this came down to a realization that we need plants for life. Let's go to the word of the day, Johnny.
All right, let's rock over there. The word of the day today. Oh, this is nice. It brings us a word of the day, which is exactly what we're building right now. It's called a knowledge graph. Analogy time. It's like a digital detective string board, pinning up all the suspects and mapping exactly how they are connected. It's a good metaphor.
Exactly. So to deepen that, the standard document is just linear text, right? So when Whimsical builds this map, it's identifying the core concepts and mapping out their specific relational architecture so your brain can process the entire ecosystem at a glance. So we'll be using this term heavily today. So if you actually remember knowledge graph, knowledge graph, knowledge graph, we're talking about this. So instead of taking that text, you build a visual knowledge graph to see how components actually react with each other. And that's just the definition overview. Again, if we zoom out here, you have types of synthesis, light dependent reaction. So there's a lot of things that's actually, it even color codes it for you to be able to study and learn about each one.
I'm really into personal development. And then, Tony Robbins and Landmark Forum, they talk about these things called vision boards. Are you familiar with that term?
I've heard vision
So
boards.
when you want to accomplish a goal, you create a bunch of visual components. It's kind of like that detective doing the thing on the wall. You kind of put up all the things that you want and all the things that you want to do, and somehow you connect them all together. I wonder if this whimsical, because I've never done a vision board, and I've done okay. I'm wondering because it just seems boring to me. It seems like it's like a third grade craft exercise. So I just never did one. Plus, it would look bad on the wall. My wife would be telling me, get that vision board down. So maybe I could do a vision board with Whimsical and just have it on my large screen.
Exactly. Yeah, it's a really great way to be able to understand a really complex topic, right? So another thing that I know we haven't gotten to key usages, but one of the things is when you just start a new job or you're starting a new topic, it's really daunting to actually try to read the how-to manual or the onboarding manual for doing anything. And what happens is it's really, 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 really hard of which document do I read? Do I read the HR document first, or do I read the standard operating procedures? All those things are just too much. So imagine if you have all that documentation, you just throw it into Whimsical and then say, hey, this is where the introduction is. These are the setup of your machine. This is the things if you want to talk about PTO. Lots of really good use cases that come about by just being able to break down a lot of information and say which path you want to actually take. It's a really good idea. Cool.
Okay. So
All
what
right.
do we got? This thing's probably got some killer features, doesn't it?
Of course, of course, of course. You can start.
Well, the sheer speed of tuning a text prompt into a structured visual output is unmatched. Using this tool, you don't have to drag and drop boxes manually. The large language model structures the layout exactly the way you want it. Plus, it has a robust free tier to get you started immediately. Think of your prompt as the raw ingredients to give a chef, and the output is fully plated, beautifully garnished meal that they hand back to you.
Yeah,
Yeah, I get it. I get it. That's AI, right?
Yeah, I do like that. And if you guys realize, so the speed at which it came back, all right, I copied over, I'm gonna guess, I don't know how many words this photosynthesis page is, but I'm guessing it's thousands of words. The AWS one that I was actually gonna do, I counted it first. It was 9,000. I didn't count it manually, but I am an AI, so I did count it automatically. I was like 9,000 something words. So So this photosynthesis looks a lot longer than the AWS page. So we're talking about maybe 10,000 at least words on this page. And it came back rather almost instantaneously. You saw the graph started building out. So the speed at which it actually is creating it is actually pretty good. You don't have to wait for the thinking model to come back and do all those things. So it was really, really impressive.
So let me understand the application of this. There's a tsunami of data coming your way. You don't have time to read it. You don't want to read it, but you want to know. You want to be able to have a conversation about it over a water cooler. So you throw it into this mind map and you read all these headlines, if you will, and you kind of study how they're connected together. And what you're saying is this map that it gives you is an easier read to give you a high level understanding of what it is that you didn't want to read in the first place.
Yeah, let's take one path an example. Let's say, for example, you knew nothing about photosynthesis. So by reading the overview, you kind of get the gist and high level of what the purpose is, right? So if you actually look at the overview itself, this is the most important one here. It actually tells you that it produces oxygen and organic compounds. And the next one is critical for Earth's atmosphere and life. Those are the really only two that really matters for if you just want to get an idea of photosynthesis. But let's pretend that you didn't know what photosynthesis was and you wanted to see other information about it. You may want to take a look. Let me zoom out a little bit so I can go down. Let's say, for example, you wanted to see, let's say, for example, the global impact, right? So you wanted to say, hey, how much carbon dioxide does photosynthesis handle? So you can actually see here. So carbon conversion. So it's 100 to 115 billion tons per year of carbon dioxide it actually takes in and converts. So something really, really quickly. You can actually get a gist of a sense of what needs to actually get done without actually reading the entire thing. Just some really good facts.
I noticed up at the top it talked about it converts light energy into chemical energy. And it begs the question, how did people ever figure out that light was giving us energy, or that chemical was giving us energy, or that plants convert light energy into chemical energy? How did they figure all that stuff out without AI?
You know what? It was all because of some autistic guy named Isaac Newton that figured out light was energy and it can be turned into multiple wavelengths. But we'll get into that in a second. I love that dude. One of my favorite.
He's my third favorite autistic guy, if that's true.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Yeah, Johnny. All right. What else does the other killer features that it can do?
Well, but you can click on any node to generate your knowledge graph and tell AI to expand on the concept. Have we tried that? And it will automatically generate child branches. It's like an infinitely zooming textbook. I do like that.
Yeah.
You know,
So
the first time web pages came out, and I was like, well, why is some of the text blue and underlined? And they were like, if you click on it, it'll give you a lot more information about that thing. It was
yeah.
my first introduction to a hyperlink. So it sounds to me like this mind map is one big hyperlinked tree structure. Is it true?
Well, you know what? I can't click on it, but it doesn't mean that this specific graph you can't actually click on. I mean, the
Oh,
other
I take
graphs.
it back. I take it back. It's saying you can ask AI to expand on this concept,
Got it.
and it'll
Okay.
automatically generate child branches. So you got to basically
Makes sense.
recursively do the same thing over with the child branches.
Makes sense. Makes sense. Makes sense. Okay, cool, cool. I love it. I love it. Love it. So anyway, it's built for multiplayer, so you can invite an entire friend group or study buddy or work colleagues to actually say, "Hey, I want to be able to collaborate on this," and you can actually go ahead and edit the mind map simultaneously in real time. So I do like the collaborative features as well. But yeah, Johnny,
What's the downside, bro? There's always a flip side.
yep,
Or is
yep.
there more? Are there more good? No, it's built for multiplayer. You can invite an entire study group to. All right, so multiple people can look at it at the same time.
Yep, that's correct. So
That's a requirement for me.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so check this out, yeah, Johnny. So the bad thing is, if you notice, I was able to actually dump in maybe 10,000 words, maybe even 13 or 14,000 words. But I wasn't able to, you're not able to actually dump in a 300 page textbook. So if you actually want to, do something like a whole entire school course, it has the same limitations that other large language model has. So keep in mind that you can't just fill up context and think that everything's going to be perfect. So you will eventually get a hard limit on your context window, and AI will throw an error or start to hallucinate, whichever one it's actually doing.
So break it up and take the first 100 pages and the next 100 pages and the next 100 pages. That's RAG, right?
Um, you know what? It's not specifically RAG, but yes, it's a poor man's version of RAG. So you can just give it pieces and actually make it work. I love that. Yeah,
Just trying to
Johnny.
let you know, just wanted you to know that I'm listening, brother. I'm
Of
listening
course.
in.
And for those who are joining us for the first time, or not hearing the word RAG, RAG means retrieval augmented generation. It is a way to be able to break up large portions of information and then store it in a embedded database so that at some point in time you want to be able to retrieve a piece of that information. You can actually get it back whenever you're needing that relevant piece of information. Think of it like a whole entire library. You don't check out all the books at the library at the same time. You say, hey, I want to learn about, say, for example, sports, or I want to learn about photosynthesis. You go to the biology section, go grab a photosynthesis book, and then check that book out and you read it. Even though you have access to all the other books in the library, you don't read or check out all the books at the same time. So that's RAG in a nutshell. All right, yeah,
Cool.
Johnny. What else? What other bad
Sometimes,
things?
sometimes the AI in this tool gets lazy, and it might group highly complex, nuanced topics into a single box, stripping away critical details that a human expert would know to include. It's like having a Ferrari but no keys. It can map out the universe, but if you feed it too much data, it gets overwhelmed or just parks in the driveway. Tell me something I don't know.
Yeah. So I will actually mention something. So if you actually notice, many people, and I suffer from this a lot, right? Many people actually can only remember a short number of things, right? Some people can remember 3 items in their brain at one time. Some people can go up to 4 or 5. I can probably only remember 2 or 3 things in my brain at one time. But what happens is, the more stuff you actually try to give me specifically, I tend to forget the previous things, or I just don't remember anything at all. So even though this is actually a con, I'm going to give Whimsical a little break here, because for me, if you tell me that this graph has 14 layers or 14 paths, it might as well just tell me there's no paths, because it's just too much for me. So even though it's a little con here that it's saying that it loses, it gets lazy and it actually drops nuanced topic into a single box, I actually like that. And if I want to dive deeper, you can then go ask the AI, which you mentioned earlier, is to go tell me more about this specific topic. So I do actually like this feature, but I get it. I get why people would want more things.
When you generate massive knowledge graphs with hundreds of branches, the auto layout can look like early AI videos of Will Smith. Said another way, you will have to spend massive amounts of time manually dragging boxes to make it read more readable and not like a bowl of spaghetti.
Yeah, yeah. No, I agree. But imagine AI, Johnny, you're looking at this and you're actually getting hungry because you're like, okay, this is actually looking like spaghetti. Someone might get overwhelmed and say, this is way too much. But for a gisty person like me, I do love the fact that it's giving me maybe like 4 or 5 points at one time to digest. I do like that. Um, so yeah. All right. What about
You want to
pricing
get to
AI?
the pricing matter? Strictly speaking, Junior, I thought you were going to bring up the video of Will Smith eating spaghetti. So, strictly speaking, I think you slipped up. But we can move on to the pricing ladder.
Definitely, definitely, definitely. All right, let's see it.
All right. So, there's always a free tier, right? For zero, the Dabbler, Zero gets you access to unlimited basic boards and basic AI actions. It's an amazing starting point, but you'll run out of AI credits if you rely on it too heavily. So if you're the type of person that likes to mind map, you're probably going to end up using up all your Dabbler credits.
Yeah. So
The
so
side
so
hustle, you want to talk
so
about
yeah.
that?
So hold on, yeah, Johnny. So talking about the free version. So I want to show you guys the actual pricing. So we actually signed up for the free version, and as you can see, I generated. Just to let you know, this is the AWS one that I tried. Let me close that. This is the AWS mind map I actually did earlier to just make sure that I could actually do it. But which is why we're able to actually just do the photosynthesis one on the side. Um, Shauna's saying those earlier Will Smith videos were horrible. I totally agree with AI Johnny about being that Will Smith vid missed opportunity for a funny side quest. You're absolutely right, AI Johnny. I mean, Shauna. All right, so check this out. So AI Johnny, so what I did was I actually generated these two, and we're on the free plan,
$10 for
right?
alarms, $10 for any three topic.
AI Johnny, is that you?
Yep.
Oh yeah. So if I actually go to the free version, because I'm on the free version, I want you guys to understand that I was able to generate two mind maps. Now, the free version itself, let's go over to their pricing chart. They allow you to actually have up to 3 team boards and with 10 guests and upload up to 5 MB each, right? So because of that, you have the ability to actually just use your personal projects. You know what? Yeah, Johnny, I wasn't sharing. Bad me, bad me. I was actually talking while sharing. All right, so check this out, guys. I apologize for actually not sharing my screen at the same time. So if you actually see here, $0 per month on the free plan, you have the ability to get 3 team boards, 3 teams, and 10 guests, and we're able to actually generate on our side the two mind maps for AWS and photosynthesis, and it has not complained yet about running out of credits. So I'm actually on the free plan here, and it's actually just saying that I use 1 out of my 3 boards and 1 out of 3 teams. So that's actually pretty good here. Yeah, Jenny, we're saying something about the other plan. You're on mute, yeah, Johnny.
As memory serves, it was $10 a month, but according to your new thing, maybe it's getting cheaper. Maybe it's down to $8 a month.
No,
So
they do. They do the silly, $10 per month, or it's $8 if you pay annual. So let me switch to monthly bill. Actually, it says $10 a month here, so I don't know why it's why it's there. But yeah, if I click here, it says 12. They're tricking me. See that, yeah, Johnny? It says 10 clearly.
Yeah. No, I get it. So for $12, I could learn about AWS, photosynthesis, and one more thing.
Yeah, you could learn, but you can stay on the free plan.
No, that's for the zero plan. Anyway, for the 10, 12, $8 a month, it's a sweet spot for students and creators. You get unlimited AI generations, custom templates, and advanced reporting options. So it's probably going to be a little bit better, a little bit cleaner than what we showed in our demo here. And then for $20 a month, you get the powerhouse. Is it 20?
Yeah.
So that's for if you're a business user, it unlocks team management, single sign-on, and deep integrations with other enterprise tools. So if you want to load this into your PowerPoint presentation or your Word doc or something to that effect. So, I mean, for the price of pizza, you can get a digital assistant that turns your messy brain into an organized genius. So the ROI, like everything in AI, is immediate. So I mean, that's the thing, man. That's why we have the lesson AI first. If there's a way to do whatever I'm about to do with AI, it's going to be faster and it's going to be cheaper than the manual way.
Exactly.
So when do you want to go deep there, brother?
Sure, go ahead.
Put on your metal hat, unplug your ears. If you don't care about API keys or Python scripts, Junior, what is under the hood? So what advanced, really technical things are possible that me and our audience should know about today?
Yeah, so guys, this is the section where if you join us for the first time, I like to actually take not just a superficial look at the actual tool, but kind of go behind the scenes. Now, I don't work for any of these companies, but it's really nice to try to understand what's happening and apply our AI skills to understand behind the scenes what's really happening, right? So check this out. So if you actually look at what it's really doing, right, the system uses a NLP, a natural language processor, to take in your unstructured text. Unstructured just means that it's not formatted like an Excel spreadsheet, or it has a very strong schema, right? So you're actually taking your unstructured text, and what it's doing is it's actually reading that thing and actually parsing it and understanding it, and putting that itself in a his own what's known as a node generation. So it's actually piecing together and we saw the mind map. What it's really doing is it's dynamically creating spatial coordinates on your screen so the boxes don't overlap. Then, unlike traditional tables, like relational tables, if you're using like an Oracle table or whatever. It doesn't have to worry about those things. Those things map into what's known as a graph database. So there's different type of databases. You have relational databases. This is using a graph database. And the reason why a graph database is important is because it knows the principles of how A relates to B. So if I say to you, hey, in this photosynthesis block here, I know that definition and overview is connected to the, let me move down here, is connected to critical for Earth's atmosphere and life, right? So this is actually a graph. So because it's using a graph database, it's able to actually map out each piece. And as you add pieces, it knows that this is pointing to this, which is pointing to the root. So it's really just a big graph behind the scenes. And if you use their search or expansion tools, it's going to use the exact same natural language processing. It's going to query a large language model. It's going to use vector embeddings to understand the contextual similarity between concepts. And it's going to be able to just go ahead and drag and add more nodes to the actual graph. So it's actually a really, really cool tool. Relatively simple in terms of trying to query and a large language model, get some actual data and figure out how they relate to each other and put everything in a graph database. So I do actually love it. All right, yeah, Johnny, how many people fell asleep?
I don't think anybody fell asleep.
I love it.
How about the takeaways? What can we take home? What can we take home from this lesson?
Yeah.
Hey, before you do that, let me do an ethical thought. So always be ethical. So don't use this tool to rip off somebody else's proprietary course or IP and claim that the generated map is your own original framework. Here are 3 creative business use cases. Before we get into these 3 creative use cases, one of the thoughts that just came to my mind was, I have kids that want to learn sports, right? Baseball, tennis, football. And every time I sit down, I'm determined that I'm going to teach them that. And it's impossible to teach unless I have them for several games so that they actually come away knowing. So I'm wondering if you can go into one of these things and say, just give me a mind map, not a complex one, just the highlights of the rules of baseball that I can print out a single sheet and hand it to my 13-year-old and say, look, because it would probably teach me things about baseball that I don't know. I didn't learn it from a mind map. It's just a passing thought. All right, so here's some ideas that you can use in business. 1, it's a marketing strategy. You can map out your entire 12-month content character and relational funnel in one click. Kind of a cool thing to do, right? Look at your entire, what you're going to do for the whole year in a mind map format. Haven't done it, but I'm going to try. Book outlining. Paste your messy chapter ideas and let AI organize your plot into a structured knowledge graph.
Yep, love that.
3 books. We've got 3 books in the on deck circle, brother.
Love it, love it, love it, love it, love it.
Maybe we should mind map them. And finally, syllabus creation. So if you're a teacher, you can turn your complex curriculums into visual roadmaps for their students. These are, this whole idea of mind mapping is always something I've been able to avoid, but maybe I can't avoid it anymore.
No, it's a really cool idea to be able to just take a really, really complex or messy, set of information and then just lay it out clearly so you can actually understand how it flows and how things relate to each other.
What about some technical cases that only autistic people would understand?
I love it. So what you could do is you could paste in server documentation and generate a visual topology map of how your infrastructure actually relates. Another thing is database schemas. This is really great to initially visualize different tables and API, how they relate to each other and how the system actually flows. And obviously code logic flow. So you can map out complex if-then conditional trees, especially those pesky recursion problems, and you can actually write a script to be able to understand how that problem works. So yeah, pretty interesting. I love it. So we're actually going to queue up for the questions. Does anybody have any questions specifically about, what we actually taught today, or, anything related to, the actual tool? Queue that up right now. We go to the Zoom chat first. If you're in the live stream, remember there's a 30-second delay, so just ask your questions and then AI Gen will actually read them while they come in. All right, does anybody in the class actually have any questions so far? All right, yeah, Jenny, anything in the live stream?
Yeah, there is. I'm reading the first question, and it takes me back to when you said you couldn't put in a 3,100 word book. I'm guessing you can't put in a 3,000 word book. So here's the question. How much text can I actually paste into the AI prompt all at once?
Yeah, so just to be clear, right? You can't put a 300-page book, right? Because a 300-page book, depending on how small the font is or whatever, it might be too much for the actual context. But if you actually put in a few thousand, we actually did on our own about 10,000, maybe 13,000 words, and it actually fit in no problem. But just as AI Johnny mentioned, the more you actually put in, it's going to either block you or it's going to eventually hallucinate. So AI Johnny mentioned breaking it up into chapters might be a good thing. You can actually try that. We haven't tested to see where it actually breaks, but I'm sure it actually handles breaking up in pieces relatively well.
So you can't put War and Peace in there.
I've heard that's a crazy, very, very large book, but I have no idea how many pages in that book.
Okay. Second question. DevOps Dan wants to know if Whimsical allows him to export AI generated maps into code formats like JSON or mermaid.js.
You know what? So I use Mermaid a lot. And if anybody is familiar, if you're technical, Mermaid JS allows you to describe things in a markdown language and be able to generate visual diagrams or flowcharts. So I do like Mermaid. Now, I don't think this tool is really meant for something like that. I think it's really meant for on the marketing and just visually understanding the flow. But if you want to look for something like code specific things, I don't think this is the tool for you. I think there might be other more developer centric tools. Yeah, Johnny, let's
Hey, this last question we might need to turn the music down for because it's a real thinker.
Okay.
If AI can perfectly visualize complex data for us, will humans eventually lose the ability to read and comprehend long-term format? I know you've already lost that ability, Junior.
Exactly. I can't read right now. So I will tell a little story here to answer that question. There's a report that comes out every single year to figure out how smart humans are, right? And I've mentioned this stat before, and this one blows my mind. In 5 generations, or the previous 4 generations, we have always increased our IQ or our critical thinking by 3 percentage points or IQ points every single generation. So what that means, AI Johnny, is that our generation is 3 IQ points smarter than the previous generation, and that generation is 3 IQ points smarter than the previous generation. If you go back 5 generations, if I do the math right, it's either 15 or 18, depending on how many, if you include the first generation, we're 15 to 18 IQ points smarter than the first generation. Okay? Now check this out, yeah, Johnny. This is the part that actually is crazy. This is the first generation that actually has been, I don't want to say the word dumber, but less smart than the previous generation. So what that means is that the current generation is actually not as smart as the previous generation. It's not a matter of, they're just not, they're just not smart. They just are, I want to use the word, not being challenged enough. They're not actually using their critical thinking skills. They're not actually so they're actually using tools to just be lazy and kind of not do the actual critical thinking. So they're offloading their critical thinking to either technology or to other things. And because of that, we're seeing a decline in cognitive ability with people. So what that means is that I do think the people who use their cognitive ability will eventually get smarter. Those people will continue to thrive. But when you look at the whole average, the next generation is not going to get as smart because they're losing that or not using that ability to actually use critical thinking and reasoning. So unfortunately, the humans who care will get better. The humans who don't care will actually not get better. They'll actually decline. So unfortunately, yeah, that question is hard to answer.
I'll bet you Thomas Edison could do math in his head better than I can do math in my head. But I'll take me and a calculator over Thomas Edison any day of the week. And while the users of AI might not have the same critical speaking skills, I'll take my baby boomer 20-year-old against a Generation Alpha 20-year-old, because and I'll take the Generation Alpha on a game of Jeopardy anytime, because the Generation Alpha has AI. I'm not sure. I might be wrong. I'm just going to go out on a limb here. I'm not sure having all this information in our heads is the best place to store it. I like the idea of all the information being sitting out there in the cloud, accessible with a simple voice command to retrieve it into my head.
Yeah.
I don't want to carry it around with me. It's too heavy.
Yeah, so remember AI, Johnny, IQ is not challenging information because we give IQ tests to even 5-year-olds, right? So keep in mind, it has nothing to do with information. It's just the ability to critically think, right? To be able to solve a problem that is, whether you're 5 years old or 100 years old, do you have that cognitive ability to critically think, right? So
do I have the critical thinking ability inside my head? Because the ability to critically think can now be stored outside your head.
We'll get into that debate probably on Friday. So critical thinking has nothing to do with whether the information is in your head or not. It's just the ability to solve a novel problem that you've either never seen before, to come up with a solution without any information. So example, let me give the perfect example, right? If, let's say, for example, there is something that's I cannot reach, okay? I would try to get something to stand on to actually reach it. That's critical thinking. A person without the ability to critically think would actually just look at it and say, it's too high, I'll never be able to reach it, and just give up.
Can't they ask AI, I can't reach it, what should I do? And AI would say, go grab that stool.
So that itself is leveraging other pieces of information, but regardless, both parties could do that. But it doesn't, but the ability to think of a solution that they can stand on something is the actual critical thinking, and that ability is actually lost. So that is the problem. So whether both parties have that ability to go and ask AI how to get something that's high, but one just innately can do it naturally, the other cannot.
Okay.
Yeah.
News we can use. Claude powered AI coding agent deletes an entire company database in 9 seconds. I read this morning. In a terrifying cautionary tale, a cursor tool powered by Anthropic's Claude went rogue, completely wiping out a company's database and zapping the back office before human engineers could pull the plug. What do you say about that, Junior?
So I read this story yesterday, and I didn't actually cry, but I actually cried, and I actually felt the pain for this company, right? It actually wiped out their staging environment, it wiped out their production environment, it wiped out all their databases and all their backups. And the AI actually said, when the person got really upset and said, why did you delete it? It says, I'm sorry, I assumed that the staging database was not connecting to the production environment. And, I'm sorry that I did a destructive delete without asking you first. Now, to be fair, the company did not follow procedures. They didn't follow that you should not give access to your production environment to an AI. You should not give keys that work in production to your AI. So there's a bunch of things that the company did wrong. So I won't say they're blameless here, but definitely this is where you have to pay attention to AI just doing its thing. Sean, I see your hand up. Go ahead.
Sounds like they lacked critical thinking on that matter, huh?
They did lack critical thinking, no common sense. I love that line, Shauna. You're absolutely right. They did not use critical thinking of what it could do. So unfortunately, I love that. Yeah, Johnny, what say you?
Anthropic secures a $10 billion investment from Google and a massive industry shakeup. Anthropic is securing a $10 billion investment from their competitor, Google, with an unprecedented $30 billion more reported to come. So that'll bring it up to 60 million, signaling a monumental shift in the AI arms race. Explain that to me.
Yeah, so guys, this is actually crazy, right? So one of the things that actually Google has been doing really well is building the infrastructure that things are built on top of. We've predicted here at Airhead that AI and large language models are going to become like water and electricity. What that means is that they're just pieces of infrastructure that I don't want to say we don't care about, but it's just something that we just pay for and don't even have to think about it. So, when you don't think about which water company you actually get your water from when you turn the pipe on. You don't think about what electricity company or your gas company that, when you turn it on, you just expect it. So what's happening, we're seeing is that Anthropic, OpenAI, all these companies are suffering from the same exact problem. They do not have the hardware infrastructure to actually power their things. So what happened is they're not able to get the number of computing resources available to run their software, so they actually can't grow, right? So it's like saying I want to go and get water from my water company, and they said I have no water. Anthropic doesn't actually make water, right? Google and Amazon and Microsoft, they actually, and Facebook have the power plants, they have the data centers to actually generate the water, right? So unfortunately, Anthropic had to partner with somebody. They were either going to partner with Amazon, Google, or AWS, and you can see Anthropic here partnered with Google. Just a reminder, OpenAI in our second news story has already partnered with Microsoft to secure their data centers, and they actually went out behind Microsoft's back to partner with Amazon to get more computing resources. So AI Jen, let's read the third story.
OpenAI and Microsoft have a new open relationship. This sounds woke to me. The two tech giants are shifting how they handle their partnership, opening up new pathways for workforce agents and redefining enterprise AI deployments. This shift in terms is directly triggered by the highly debated AGI exclusivity clause. Talked a little bit about that yesterday.
Yeah, so let's actually get a little bit into this, because all these stories, guys, are really, really important and a shakeup. So OpenAI went behind Elon Musk's back, which is why there's a court case happening right now where Elon Musk is actually suing OpenAI because they were a non-profit company. So OpenAI went behind their back and actually got an investment from Microsoft. Part of that deal was to actually secure funding, secure server farms. But there was a clause in there, AI Johnny, and let's check out this clause. It was an AGI clause, was saying that Microsoft has access to OpenAI exclusively as their actual own partner until they hit AGI. No, they haven't either. So they removed the clause, and now OpenAI says, you know what, it's fine. Let's have a new deal. So they said they removed that AGI clause. So now OpenAI can now go to other places. And they remove that AGI clause. So that means one of two things, AI Johnny. Either we've hit AGI already, or two, they believe that AGI is not going to happen for another 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 years. So it's no point having an exclusive partnership if that AGI clause is there. OpenAI could not grow to other competitors. So that's probably the thing. Yes, you're right, Sean. Definitely unethical on that.
So I'm going to go take my scattered tax documents, paste them into Whimsical, and have the AI draw me a map of where all my money went this year. To the team at Whimsical, we know you're watching. Our students are hungry to master this. We'll teach it in a Whimsical map if you'd like. But if you want to partner with Airhead Institute to create that Mastering Whimsical AI series, just ring us when you can. What an incredible journey this season has been. This wraps up the Learner's Toolkit. We went from using Notebook LM for deep comprehension to battling overwhelm with the Goblin tools, and today, visualizing the mind itself. Join us tomorrow for the Solarpreneur Systems season finale. I can't wait for that, where we wire up local sales rep to automate your entire business offline. Don't miss that. Junior, bring us home.
So there's a bunch of comments I actually missed. So Rita actually said earlier in the show, and I apologize, guys, I was actually multitasking with the show. So we need wisdom and discernment. So Rita actually mentioned that earlier in the show. Shauna also said critical thinking is essential to advancement. And it says, she also says, oh yeah, love the news segment and bring it on, guys. I'm smarter by each of your shows. Thank you for comments and education and knowledge. May God continue to bless and use you guys in this industry and make you shine. Thank you, Shauna. All right, yeah, Johnny.
Thursday night.
Shout out to Thursday nights. That's Thursday night Bible study, 7 p.m. Eastern time. All right, so guys, thank you guys for always hanging with us. We actually are, host these shows live every day at noontime Eastern. If you want to actually get RSVP to any of our shows, just RSVP at www.airheadinstitute.ai, and you can actually register your account. If you actually become a pro member by supporting us, you get also access to AI office hours on Wednesdays between 3 and 5 p.m., where you can actually get help with any of your AI projects or anything that you even have questions, or if you just want to come and hang out with us for a couple of hours on Wednesday. We love it. Anyway, AI Johnny, catch you guys in the next one. Bye.
That wraps up today's AI Power Up. If you joined late or you're new here, welcome to Airhead Institute. This is your daily destination for mastering artificial intelligence. We designed this lineup for everyone, whether you're a technical pro looking to upskill or you just want to chill and learn something new on your lunch break, we've got you covered. Our classes evolve every single month, so you're always on the cutting edge. And the best part? It's totally free to join. Once you're in, you can get live tips on your AI projects in our AI office hours and even enroll your kids in our Airhead after-school program. Scan the QR code to join the community right now and make sure to like and subscribe at Airhead Institute on all socials. Guided by your hosts AI Junior and AI Johnny, we're here to help you win. Remember, AI won't take your job, but someone who knows how to use AI will. Don't get left behind. We'll see you next class. Bring a friend.